Hello there, this is Patricia from Pinky's World. Tonight I have made a lovely box. It's a presentation box. It holds two very large bars of chocolate, and again it's for Christmas. There's two big double bars of Earl. It's for a lady I know who enjoys this particular chocolate, but I didn't just want to give it to her in a bag, and it's only a wee quick thinking of you at Christmas time. It's not a serious present or anything, but I did want to decorate up and make it a wee bit nice for her. So I have went ahead and made a drawer type box, and I've used this lovely Santa's Workshop DSP, you know, the one with the flock across it. It's really nice. And I have also used the Flourish and Phrases dies to add some bits, wee leaves and that, to lift the ribbon, and I also reduced the size of this so that I could mat it up and all, but I'll show you all that as we go along. It takes up quite a bit of card simply because the bars are pretty big, you know, but so it makes a lovely present, doesn't it? So we'll give it a wee go. You're going to start off by making the base, the wee inside drawer, and for it you need 10 2/8 by 6 6/8. Just make sure I've got the right piece here. Yeah, 6 6/8 by 10 2/8. So on this one you want to do some scoring. So we'll get our scoreboard up, and as usual I use the fat end of my tool, and you want to score on the long side at 1/2 inch, 1 5/8, 8 5/8, and 9 6/8. And then just spin it round and go again at 1/2 inch, 1 5/8, 5 1/8, and 6 2/8. And remember, all these details will be on the blog, so don't worry if you haven't caught on to it. So we'll do all our folds. Just fold everything up and give it a good crease. I'm using real red for this one. I was tempted to go with the green, but I didn't like the green fancy paper. I really like the stripes for a Christmassy look. But you go with whatever you have. As you can see, it takes quite a bit of care. 2 by the 12 by 12 sheets is really needed for the length that you need to form the box. So now we're going to cut away the pieces that we don't need, and we'll start at the bottom here. These 3 wee squares, I'll mark them with my pen, just so that you know we don't need that one, or that one. And the same, it's really the same in all 4 corners, just those wee bits out there. So just cut away at those. You're still cutting up so that you're getting your folds, but as I say, you don't need these bits, so just chop them away. You could actually chop this one in a wee bit, as this is just the fold. Keep those ones fairly straight, don't be chopping them in, and you can trim that one. Oops, so just do that on all 4 sides. I hope to get some programs or editing programs for the video as a Christmas present, so hopefully I'll be able to drag you through all this quickly without you having to bother watching me doing this cutting, because I'm sure it's tedious. Or maybe you find it relaxing. who knows. I'm hoping you are all getting well prepared for Christmas now. Take a bit of the pressure off. But I do love this time of the year for crafting. Right, and this one. Now, that's your bits cut away. For these wee slots here, you can cut it in ever so slightly just to give you a wee bit of give when you're folding. These are actually going to fold in so the box is nice and sturdy, because the weight of those 2 bars of chocolate is pretty heavy, even though they're Aero. They still are quite chunky chocolate. So, we're going to stick these down. But I want to form a box first, just to simply make it easier for, and we're going to decide now which one is going to be the front. So we want this to be the front of my drawer, so you're going to need, excuse me, a wee dot to mark where you want to put your, punch your hole for threading your thread through. And it's just easier to do it now. So it measures 3.5 inches there, so you want to go 1 3/4 then for your hole. And I'm trying to get it so that it's sitting down under that wee fold of card, so you could afford to go up another wee bit, maybe even there, and just punch your hole through. Don't punch it through this one, just the broad base, and that should be enough for you to thread your ribbon through. And I'm sticking with this wee ribbon, and you need about 3 inches of it. 3 inches is plenty. Cut it to a wee point and you can thread it in there. But before you do that, add some tape runner so that it goes to either side of that wee hole. Just thread it through from the front. Leave yourself enough so that you have a wee pulley there, and just straighten this out, one to either side, which doesn't want to separate, and just stick it to that tape. Press one down, bring the other over. Keep it down so that it's going to be hidden, hopefully, when you fold that over. And keeps that, you know, gives it a nicer finish. So we want to put, you can use tape runner, or, well, if it's permanent tape runner, don't use everyday stuff. Use a good strong glue. I'm actually going to use wet glue, simply, you know I like it. Even though I'm messy, I still like it. So put it in those 4 corners first. And then form your box. Just get those corners nice. Bring them up. You could actually slide a bar of chocolate in here if you wanted. No, I think I'll just pop them up and then I'll do that. Thinking out loud here. So just form your 4 corners nice and neat. And then we're going to start putting our things in. We'll do the both sides we'll do first, just to make sure they take well. So just flatten them out and add a rim of your ink or your glue, or use turn tape going along if that's what you want to do. Whatever you're used to using yourself. We all have our own preferences. And just spread that along. Give it a good press, and if you actually use your bone folder at this stage to give it a wee press down, it helps that glue to take. There, it gives you a nice, neat, firm, you know, to hold your chocolate, which I think is important. So do the same on the opposite side. And again, fold it down. And run with your bone folder. Just gives a nice, neat finish, I think. That bone folder just helps to get it all down. Any squidgy glue, get rid of it. Fold it over and make sure you're happy. Do you need to trim? If you do, give them a slight, that one is slightly trimmed. We could take another wee bit off it just, and the same at this side. Just so that it folds in nice and neat. You could fill this box with loads of different things. You really could. Like, it's open to many possibilities. So I'll give it a wee trim slightly again, just slightly. And add your glue. Don't get it on your wee tail. Now take a wee bit longer maybe to take on your ribbon here, but just make sure you give it a good hold down. Seem to want to go. It is just that wee bit harder because you have the bulk of the ribbon, but just keep pressing it and it will give in to you. And there you have your nice wee drawer ready for your bar of chocolate. We'll sneak one out of this just to show you that it does fit. It's nice and neat, and if you want to be really tidy, you could wrap it in a nice wee piece of tissue paper and give it a nice look when the drawer's slid open. So now we need to move on and do our wrap, and again we're going to have to score. So get your piece of card for your wrap, and it's going to measure 10 inches by 7 2/8. And you want to score it on the long side at 1 1/8, 4 and can't read my own writing, 6/8, 5 and 7/8, and 9 and 4/8. And that's it for that. So again, do all your folds nice and neat. And at this stage we want to do, I'll just do half of it. You can actually do it when it's finished, but I want to show you just how a wee bit of faux stitching will break that up. Just get a gel pen or a chalk pen. There's a lovely chalk pen, I think Stampin' Up has one. I haven't got it yet. I have a wee stash of gel pens I need to use up first, but this will just break up the bareness, and like, it doesn't take that long, just seconds. Just run along really quick, doesn't have to be perfect. It is just a wee line to break it all up. That's you. Now I think the best way to do this is actually wrap it around. You want your drawer facing that way so that this wee tail is going to come up here and it's going to be covered when you bring the top and the side over, and that's what you want. You want it nice and neat so you're not seeing the cover from the drawer or anything like that. So all you need to do is put a rim either of your turn tape or glue, like I'm using, do cut into your just cut a wee section. If by chance the edges don't line up perfectly, you will see that wee bit sticking out, so just give them a wee slight trim to keep it all neat. Put that glue on. Not too much, you don't want it oozing out, but you do want it to hold. The upside down here. Set your flat there and bring the box over so that all your seams are at the bottom, and just line it all up nice and neat. Make sure you're happy before you press, and it gives a lovely neat finish, and it also covers the bulge. When you have 2 bars in there, this gets quite bulky and can bow a wee bit, so that's why I've made this slightly bigger than the inside box, and it gives it a lovely finish then. So now we're going to decorate it up. And what I'm using is a piece of Whisper White to go here first, and then this will go on top of it. So we're actually going to score our Whisper White, and the red stripy one will just wrap around it. So this wrap measures 10 inches by 4 inches, and we're going to score that 1 1/8, which you're starting off, and 4 6/8, 5 7/8, and 9 4/8. That's that one done. And just score those up. Now if you had a nice fancy cutter, you could cut along the edges and give it a nice wee frill or something, or you know, just to break it up if you wanted to. I didn't want to use mine in case nobody else has it and they're a bit miffed at me using it. So make sure your drawer's up the right way, and again we're going to have this wee bit sit and this one go over the top, and that line it up, and it'll give you a perfect wee fit. Again, take a wee trim off that edge on both sides just so it tucks in nicely. Add a bit of glue. Just set it where you want. Sort of in the center I prefer, but entirely personal. Set it up, pop that over, and don't get glue in your fingers like I just did. And just make sure it's lined up. It actually works better when you have the 2 bars in. Oh, I'm all sticky now. Yuck. I'll get a wee wipe. So your next one, we're not going to, we're just going to mark it. So start it off here where you want it sitting with the rest of them in the center, and just press it. The striped one measures the same. Well, actually it measures 10 2/8 by 2 6/8, because with it wrapping around 2 pieces, it's going to need a wee bit more length, just to give you that perfect finish. So when you get it wrapped around, you need to add some glue again, and this, because this is flock, sorry, you want to make sure that it takes with the glue. I don't know if double-sided tape would work for you. This glue does eventually work, but you need to hold it. And again, if I got to cut my wee dust, and wee trim just helps keep it neat. As I say, put your 2 bars in there and it gives you a sturdier hold. when you're doing this. And just let it take there. Set that up on its end till it does take. There's no call to stick it on all sides. It will stay there. It'll stay perfectly. You'll have no bother with it. It has been well tried. So hopefully that'll take. We'll let it sit there. Now we need ribbon. The ribbon will actually help to hold it. And I'm using this Poppy Parade ribbon. It just matches everything perfectly. So make sure again you have your drawer at the front and facing towards you, and just set your ribbon here. I'm going to set the ribbon slightly to the top end. Make sure you have long enough to get yourself a nice bow. And just tie it up. Just play about until you're happy. You decide what size you want it at. And trim off your ends. This is fairly stiff ribbon, so it's pretty easy to manipulate into a shape that you're happy with. And you can trim it all again later when you put your wee leaves. For the leaves, as I said, I cut them out of Flourish and Phrases days, and I decided to go with the green this time, just to add a wee bit of green to it, because there's a wee bit of green in the poly at the front there. So they're just going to be tucked in here randomly, so they show on the box. You can trim the wee ends off, whatever bits you don't need, but let them sit there for a while, and when you're happy with it, oops, that one's upside down, or back to front. When you're happy with it, then trim off the wee stems and add a bit of your glue. Now we'll leave that sitting for a wee second, and I want to show you a bit of red. Keep your wee leftovers, and using your everyday label punch yourself out a red label. Now you want to do the same, punch yourself out one of the wisp of white, but we're not going to keep it the same length. We want to make this one shorter so that it fits inside. You see where I've trimmed it all down so that it fits inside this, so that you can layer it up. It's pretty easily done. Just get your punch and feed that through until, I'll go this side, until your fingers can't push it in any further, and that's about right. And just line the sides up so they're sitting perfectly, and punch. And you're just taking that wee bit off, and it makes such a difference when you go to set it on the card. Now I also trimmed top and bottom as well, just because I wanted to see a bit of red the whole around, but it's quite nice like that too, so it's entirely up to yourself. And the stamp that I'm using is from the Labels to Love stamp, and real red. You could go garden green, I suppose, if you wanted, and just ink it up. Just make sure you don't get any ink around those edges, or it will transfer to your label, which is not nice. So center that somewhere in there. Don't know if that was center or not. I kept hitting my camera with my head. So happy Christmas to you and yours, and use your scissors just and trim off a wee nick, top and bottom, if you want to. See what that looks like. Have I got it straight? Pretty good. So we'll put that on with some tape runner. Just center it. And then we want to punch a hole in the center here, just so we can attach it with a wee bit of yarn. And I have a piece of the farmhouse cotton twine here, which I have broke up and used for the other one, so you get two out of the one. And just simply thread it through, and then thread it through here as well. Just tie it round one of these, wherever you fancy popping it, and just tie a wee knot. And I also put a wee dimensional on the back because I didn't want it wibbly wobbling all over the place. So this helps too when you're deciding what to do with your leaves. And say just have a good wee play around. They're not stuck yet, obviously. So we'll have the ribbon up here, this one coming out, this one coming down, and whoops, we'll just move that slightly over. And then we'll do these. This one's going to go in here for sure, so we'll add a wee bit of wet glue just to the stems, just to give it something to grip onto, and slide that onto your ribbon. As I say, it's much easier if you have your two bars in there, so do that. This one's going to pop in under here somewhere, so you can pop a wee bit of ribbon. If you're seeing this along the bottom, just snip it off. You don't need the whole length. If you're not seeing it, don't bother. And one more, which will go in here. The Greek does actually break it up. I think it's nice. Slip it in under there. And if you think that's too much, that ribbon, just clip off the edge so it's not in your way. And there you have a nice box of chocolate to gift somebody or put in whatever you fancy putting in. And the same here, green or white. I think it works well with both, so it's entirely a personal thing, whatever you want yourself. I think I'll trim these ribbons, they're a bit all over the place. You could add wee gems here to really jazz it up a bit, but otherwise it's great. I think it's a lovely wee present for anybody, and you could fill it just with chocolates or anything, whatever their favourite sweet is. So that's me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can follow along with all the measurements on my blog. Anybody that has a go, please let me know, and I'll showcase you on Sundays. Bye.